once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome everyone to Radio Free New York. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host on this Tuesday. Andrew Hollister's out. He's caught up with some other stuff today, so I'm in the hot seat hosting today. But luckily, I'm joined today by a guest, Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party of New York. Cody, welcome.
Kev, how are you? Thanks a lot for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
This is my first public appearance, you see. So this is my coming out party.
It's a big deal, and it's an honor to have your first public appearance be here on Radio Free New York. So thank you for agreeing to that.
Certainly.
So to fill our listeners in, the Libertarian Party of New York just had a historic weekend. Cody, do you want to explain what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So after we gained ballot access, we were scheduled to elect our first state committee at the statewide ballot, which we did. Representatives from each judicial district throughout the state were selected at the ballot, and we convened. We were supposed to convene in New Rochelle, New York, for an in-person convention. And Governor Cuomo adjusted his guidance after he lost his Syracuse wedding case, you may recall. So he adjusted the guidance to basically make gatherings of more than 50 people unlawful. So we had to make a quick pivot. We had an online convention via Zoom and using the national party's platform, Porcupine, and we pulled it off in the few satellite locations, and people tuning in from home. We managed to do what was legally required, which is to elect officers and adopt rules. And as it turns out, I end up getting the chairmanship, and I'm also very happy to have Tony D'Orazio, who's the former chair of the LPNY, to be my first vice. So I was really, really pleased about that, and I couldn't be more pleased with the slate of officers and at-large members. The state committee really came together to get our essential work done. So I was really pleased that happened.
Yeah, it's always a nice thing. And of course, Tony D'Orazio, friend of the show, has been on here several times before. He was the chair of the interim state committee leading up to this. And now Cody is going to be the new chair of the new Libertarian Party of New York organization. But, I will say, as someone who attended this, it is maybe one of the smoothest conventions I've attended possibly ever. I think it went very well.
Let me tell you something. Having heard, that I've been to went to the convention in the FLP convention, the predecessor to the ballot access party, the FLP convention in Rochester, which to me went very smoothly. Of course, I've heard things like that Howard Stern convention from 25, 30 years ago. And from all accounts, this went remarkably smoothly. There was nothing. The old libertarian word dilatory being bandied about, and we got the business done, I think, very efficiently. I think efficiently by anyone's measure, not just the Libertarian Party measures. So I think everything went super smoothly. And Jeff Mata, who is unfortunately leaving, he lives down Westchester, is an OG Libertarian. He was our convention chair and really pivoted quickly, along with the COC, to get everything moved to an online convention. And Jeff was absolutely amazing. We're really going to miss him. He's moving to Connecticut, and we'll miss him a lot. He's really a great resource to have here in the party.
Yeah, no, Jeff's a great guy, and I'll tell you, just for those of you who haven't experienced any type of convention, like the Libertarians take the process very seriously. Have a debate, discuss the issues, make sure all the voices are heard, follow the process, follow the rules. It's not a rubber stamp thing. The Libertarian Party at either the national or the state level isn't just saying, we'll just rubber stamp whatever our chairperson says or whatever our candidate says. Like, that ain't how it works.
Yeah, and Kev, I think this was, the significance of the convention, I think, kept everybody's decorum high. I think that we had excellent consensus going in as to what needed to get done and how it needed to get done, and I think the state committee performed amazingly, and I'm really proud of all the committeemen and women that came together to make this work. This is really the important party, the important part. For all the everyone was up in arms about well, why aren't we fighting Cuomo's orders, and why aren't we just going someplace and organizing, and having more than 50 people and fighting the edict. And the bottom line, our answer from the COC was look, we have to get this done, otherwise it doesn't get done. So we just, and that was really the galvanizing statement. We just kept repeating it, and I think everybody very effectively kind of gave up their righteous indignation, and we made it happen.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen, and that's not to say that we're that you're thrilled about Governor Cuomo's orders, and that there wasn't a temptation, I'm sure, to defy them in some way. Because
there was a strong temptation, and for me, look, in the end, I'm on the state committee now chair also, and for me, the state committee has a fiduciary responsibility to the party organization to get the business done, and it doesn't. In the end, we can't care, or we can take a stance and say this is nonsense. But in the end, we have a fiduciary responsibility to do what election law requires us to do. And I think that was once we sort of, it took about a week to drive that into people's heads. But I think once we did that, everyone really galvanized behind us and made it happen. So I'm grateful for that.
That's how it works sometimes. The Libertarians always want to fight the state wherever, whenever we can. But sometimes it's like, all right, just hold back for a second so we can get this done. It's important. We got to follow the rules sometimes.
Yeah, and in the end, in the end, we're still a political party in New York. Right. So, we do have to follow the law as much as, and frankly, unjust executive orders, because we need to get our business done, and I'm proud to say we did that. And we got our rules filing and our officer list filing done yesterday. So we are completely lawful, lawfully constituted committee in the eyes of election law. So.
Nice. And big deal. Decades in the making, Libertarian Party has been fighting to get this official recognition, and met that ballot threshold in 2018, and now in 2020, how the process works is now it's kind of official, right? There's an interim process, and then there's elections of the state committee last June, and now Correct. This is just again filling in the listeners, making sure everyone understands how this process is working and why this is a big deal for the party.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and we were, when we got ballot access, we were promised ballot access for 4 years, and sort of getting back to the nitty gritty is another executive order that Governor Cuomo passed, or actually it wasn't really an executive order. He tried to raise the ballot access thresholds through his public finance commission. Which fortunately got knocked out of court. He ended up tacking it on to the budget bill at the end of March. So so now we're faced with a higher ballot access threshold, and for all intents and purposes, it took away 2 years of ballot access off the tail end of our venture. So we now are required to get 130,000 votes, or 2% of the total New York State vote, for our presidential candidate, Joe Jorgensen, and our vice presidential candidate, Spike Cohen. on the Libertarian line. If we don't get that, we lose ballot access again. We currently have a federal lawsuit that the great Libertarian lawyer from Western New York, Jim Ostrowski, has filed on our behalf. It's a joint lawsuit with the Green Party, who is facing the same existential threat that we are as a non-duopoly party here in New York, and we have a very good chance of winning it. But we can't hang our hopes on that. We really need to get the vote out for Joe Jorgensen and get those votes that we need on the line.
Absolutely. Well, Cody, we're about to head to break, and we'll talk more about what you're doing to make that happen right here on Radio Free New York in a few minutes. We'll be back with Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party of New York. Talk to you soon.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Escape from the everyday to a getaway at Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Woodcliff features elegantly appointed accommodations, creative cuisine, themed suites, full-service spa Elan, and is Rochester's best venue for outdoor wedding receptions overlooking the city skyline. Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, where the experience is extraordinary. Located in Fairport, call 585-381-4000 or visit woodcliffhotelspa.com.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks so much for joining us. We are joined by Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party of New York. And I want to give a shout out before we move on, of course, our wonderful listeners here on WYSL and down the line, WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot, down in the southern tier. Thank you all for listening. And of course, our friends who are listening online on the Radio Free New York page, on the Andrew C. Hollister page, on the YouTube channel, on the Twitter, all of those. You guys rock. Thank you for listening today, and thank you for participating in the conversation. I can't take phone calls today because Cody's on the phone, but I will take your comments. If you have comments or questions for the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party in New York, post them in the comments on Facebook. I see all those. we'd be happy to discuss them. And so, Cody, we were talking about the ballot access issue. So roughly how many votes again does the Libertarian line and Libertarian presidential candidate need in order to maintain ballot access this year?
So we need to get the greater of 130,000 votes, or 2% of the votes cast statewide.
All right. So how is the Libertarian Party in New York figure into helping achieve that?
Well, a lot of the on-the-ground work we require, the campaign needs to do it. One of the biggest challenges this year, which has been the biggest challenge with everything this year, has been unreasonable quarantine orders from His Highness, Governor Cuomo. And, Jo Jorgensen has not visited the state because she can't visit the state without having the quarantine. We've been very lucky, very fortunate to have Spike Cohen, great organizer down in New York, Rebecca Lau, was the vice chair of the Manhattan Party. She was instrumental in getting Spike to get to Staten Island and Manhattan, along with Brianna Cole. So we were very fortunate to have him down there. He addressed our convention. Spike is also going to be making other visits to the state this coming weekend. So we're up in Binghamton on Sunday, and Hamburg and Niagara Falls on Monday. So we're doing what we can, but unfortunately, without the candidate coming to New York, it's a hard slog. And for our part, we're trying to mobilize our county organizations to get the vote out. We're distributing collateral. They sent the national campaign has sent us lawn signs. So we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons here, and doing the best we can to get it, to get the job done. Gary Johnson in 2016, he was actually ran on two lines. If you don't know, he actually ran on the Independent Party line as well as on the Libertarian line. He got well above 130,000 votes. But most of the votes he got were on the independence line. So it's going to votes for the Libertarian candidate for us to maintain ballot. And this year that she's only going to be on the Jo Jorgensen, who is our presidential candidate. She's going to be only on the Libertarian line this year, and so we have to try and drive that vote and get people to vote on the Libertarian line. There's not going to be another one for her to run on.
Yeah, absolutely. So working around those COVID restrictions, it's the traditional stuff, getting out the vote for party members, for enrolled members. I'm sure someone's doing calling campaigns and whatnot. And
yeah, well, this is a lot of this falls, and here's the challenge. A lot of this falls on the Jorgensen campaign, and to do call in our in-state organizers. Tony is the county contact, and he's been coordinating and doing an amazing job at this. Tony D'Orazio doing an amazing job coordinating and really trying to get Joe to the state and raise awareness and get him to get them to pay more attention to us, because we like I said, we really got an existential issue. That I wish, they have their priorities nationally, and I get that. But we really have an existential issue that we're hoping they will help us address a little more actively.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've got to make some noise here, and
and Tony's doing a great job of that. I just want to be really, really clear. He started when as chair of the LPNY, but separately from the LPNY, he was coordinating with them, and he continues to have that job. I think it's good to have that continuity.
Yes, we all love Tony, and although I need to bug him, I want to get Spike in Rochester too. Between Binghamton and Buffalo, come on, Spike, stop in Rochester, stop up here.
It's an hour and a half drive. Just to drive over, Kid. I'm planning on being on Niagara over in Niagara and Hamburg on Monday. We'll see how it works out, but I'll definitely be in Binghamton on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'll probably be there if I can, but I'd prefer that he come to Rochester, in my district and whatnot. I just have a personal stake in that. But again, we've had Spike on the show. Love to have him on again too. We have to get Dr. Jorgensen on Radio Free New York. So her comms people, they can reach out at any time. We want to get her on, give her opportunity to be able to speak to the issues, because President Trump and Joe Biden certainly get all the opportunities in the world to make gaffes every day and then have the media apologize for them. Dr. Joe does not get that same opportunity to get her message out in a coherent way.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so Cody, shifting a little bit, but besides the ballot access thing, which I know is probably top of your mind, what are some of the issues that the Libertarian Party in New York is prioritizing, and how do you plan on, making policy change happen from the position that you're in?
So first thing, you're right. Ballot access is at the top of my mind, and for the next 30 days, it's going to be all about getting out the vote for our presidential candidate Joe Jorgensen and for Spike Cohen, and getting raising awareness, and getting those votes that we need. As absentee balloting and early voting, sort of shortens the timeline that we have to get a lot of this done. So we need to be able to we need to drive that, and that's job one and the only job over the next 30 days. Going forward, we have half of the counties in New York State are now organized, which is amazing. Our local affiliate coordinator Mark Vitora did a great job getting us to that point, along with his committee. We have counties who need to step it up a notch, and they need to increase fundraising. They need to start running local candidates, and frankly, the only way that we can affect policy change in Albany is to get good candidates run, like you, Kevin Wilson, and like Dwayne Whitmer out in New York 27, who was running for the convict Chris Collins' seat. We need, Mark Rogowski, who's up in your neck of the woods, and we Tom Queter, of course, who's down in Senate District 52, running against an otherwise unopposed incumbent. So what we really need to do, we need to identify these races that we can win, but more importantly, we do need to run people as more than paper candidates. We need people who are willing to run a real race, and most importantly, get seats in Albany, so that we can let people know that we are here to stay, and that there is an alternative to the duopoly that essentially has made us the least free state in the country.
Yeah, well, sometimes we trade places with California, Cody.
Look, Cato says we are the least free state in the country. So I'm going by their list, not for
pretty consistently.
If the Libertarian think tank says that we are the least free state in the country, I'm inclined to believe them. And look, if you look at the COVID restrictions that have been laid down, across the state, we have businesses that have suffered needlessly and that continue to suffer. They continue to suffer under the tyranny and hypocrisy of what amounts to a police state. That constantly changes rules just to catch people, to fine them, and to reinforce that the state is not omnipotent. And it should be troubling to everybody. But a lot of people, unfortunately, Kev, as you know, look for government to solutions for all their problems. And as you also know, government frequently makes problems worse.
They sure do. All right. So thanks again for joining us, Cody. We'll be back with more discussion on these issues here on Radio Free New York in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon.
bless America. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. A much cooler day with lots of clouds, some areas of showers, a little steadier rain for a bit this afternoon. Temperatures today will stay in the 60s. Tonight will drop down into the low 50s. Some showers likely out there. On your Wednesday, won't be as wet, but there'll still be some showers, a bit of a breeze. Cool day in the 50s and 60s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Grab a pen. I'm going to give you a phone number in a moment for attorney Christopher Johnson. Chris handles car and motorcycle accident cases and DWIs and serious personal injury cases. More on that in a moment. Let's talk about big law firm advertising. You can't miss it these days. The millions lawyers spend on promotion brings in a lot of clients. That's good for the lawyer, not so good for you. The more cases a lawyer has, the less attention you get. If there's an accident or other incident, you want to feel like you're Chris Johnson's only client. So this is the number you want in your glove compartment for serious vehicle accidents or DWIs. 585-415-3803. 415-3803. At that number, you'll get individual attention and integrity, experience, and expertise. One more thing. Any so-called guarantee from a lawyer is neither not real or worthless. Understand, no attorney charges a fee until you win. So write it down, 585-415-3803. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson, attorney, personal injury, car, or motorcycle accidents, DWI defense.
Emani, time for school, baby. Emani, time for school. Emani, it's time.
A different couch, a different floor, the backseat of a car. Over 2,000 Rochester school-aged children are homeless, but now there is hope. The Open Door Mission Cold Water House for moms and their children. opendoormission.com/doves.
What does it mean to bank locally with Tompkins? It means keeping your money in your community with a team of neighbors to guide you through big decisions and milestones, plus all the convenience of our mobile app where you can manage your account, deposit checks remotely, send money to family and friends, even turn your card off if it gets misplaced, then back on when you find it. Ready to bank locally with the team at Tompkins? Visit Tompkins Bank of Castile online or at a branch to get started. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Geneseo Hardware and Rental has a new expanded location on Route 28, east of the village of Geneseo. Over 6,000 square feet with a large selection of plumbing, electrical, home and garden, and much more. Geneseo Hardware offers Valspar paint, a wide selection of rental items, plus screen and window repair. Get personalized service at the new, bigger location. Geneseo Hardware and Rental, Route 28 next to Wegmans Plaza. Visit geneseo-rental.com.
An experienced professional with more than 15 years in dentistry, Dr. David Olivo welcomes new patients to his family practice at 2005 Lyle Avenue. At the office of Dr. Olivo, you'll discover a warm and comforting environment staffed by professionals who are committed to providing the best available dental care while assuring your complete comfort. Call 328-3382 for an appointment. Dr. David Olivo, offering quality dentistry with a gentle touch.
With colder weather coming, know that Turnbull, your York certified comfort expert dealer, has the highest quality, most reliable York systems with the best warranty in the business. Install confidence this winter season with Turnbull Heating in York. 10-year parts and labor warranty, 0 interest up to 18 months, more than $300 in utility rebates, and 24/7 service by certified Turnbull technicians. Install confidence this season with Turnbull and York.
You'll be comfortable with the best. Turnbull Heating and Air.
Call 343-2005 in Avon 226-6180.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Welcome back to Radio Free New York. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are joined again by Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party in New York. And again, Cody, it is fascinating, I think, for many of our listeners to hear like how the party is organized, what the party is doing now logistically. I think what many listeners want to know, though, is that, we probably have a lot of Republicans, handful of Democrats, a bunch of independents, people who are frustrated with the two-party system. Why on earth should they trust the Libertarian Party with their vote this year?
Well, so let's break down the numbers real quick. And they're rough numbers, but, they're numbers, right? So you figure of the electorate, 25% are enrolled Republicans, 25% are enrolled Democrats, depending where you are in the state. And the middle are probably no party or third party voters, right? So, I think there's a lot of people who are usually voting for the lesser of two evils, right? And to the extent that they are, fiscally conservative or socially liberal or the kinds of things that they label themselves. We're looking for people who are, this happened in 2016, right? And Gary Johnson got the most votes of any Libertarian candidate ever, and on the presidential ballot, because the two choices to many voters were completely unpalatable. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were not. If those were the best candidates that the duopoly could put forward, there's got to be a different way, right? And I think that's why Gary got as many votes as he did. So here we are 4 years later, and we're looking down the barrel of the same gun, right? And we are looking at two choices. At least I am. I'm looking at two choices that are completely unpalatable, which is why it's important to have the Libertarian Party at the table to provide a common sense, personal responsibility, small government, pro-freedom, pro-liberty choice to the choiceless existence that the duopoly has given us. Both the Republicans and the Democrats are increasing the size of government at an ever increasing rate in different ways, right? And unfortunately, in the end, the government is only inclined to use its power and its force to get you to do what they want, whether it's pay more taxes or whether it's forcing a benefit, forcing some kind of entitlement program upon our less fortunate citizens. The bottom line is that bigger government means more force, and that is not what we stand for. And I think that COVID, in particular, over the last 6 or so months, has shown people what the devastation of the force of government, what devastation the force of government can bring. And when you look across New York, especially upstate in western New York, was already not in great shape. I live in a rural county. I live in Columbia County, which is kind of a little bit southeast of Albany, right up against the Massachusetts line. So, and we're doing pretty well here, fortunately, because we have a lot of downstaters have country homes up here, and a lot of them retreated up here. So they're, the economy is doing pretty good here, but elsewhere it's a mess. We were in Syracuse for the satellite meetup for the LPNY state committee meeting. Syracuse is a war zone. And we had our meeting there in the Marriott downtown there, and literally you go a block anyway around the hotel, and you felt not so safe. It was even worse this summer. So from my perspective, you can visit any of the cities in western or central New York and see what the devastation force of government has caused.
Yeah, no, it's awful. And I want our listeners to keep in mind, too, look at how the Republican Party voted on the powers for Governor Cuomo, on essentially turning him into a dictator. Look at how they voted on those bills. And again, that's power that extends through next April, I believe. So are they standing up for your rights? Are they consistent in doing that?
That's right.
And
the answer is a big no. I think the answer is a big no. I think they went along with it because, again, people want you to think, or legislators rather, or the governor wants you to think we're with the government, we're here to help, and it just isn't. They literally increased the size of government and turned New York State's government into a police state literally overnight. And that should be concerning to everybody. And the endless string of executive orders that have come from Governor Cuomo because the legislature abdicated its constitutional authority and responsibility in favor of it, they're completely culpable in this. And let's put it this way: when a Democratic socialist in New York City comes out and says, "I'm very concerned about all these powers that we've given Governor Cuomo," that says something. When a Democratic socialist comes out and says that,
that's when you know it's bad.
That's when you know it's bad, and yet he was smart enough to see, or maybe not smart enough, but because he's a Democratic socialist after all. But he could see the consequences of granting these powers to the governor pretty clearly. And when you read the legislation that did it, it's like fire, flood, locusts, pestilence, earthquake, volcano, like any number of natural disasters, basically automatically grant him this power, and it's frightening, and no one in Albany, in the legislature, in the Assembly, or the Senate is standing up and doing anything about it. It is chilling. It is chilling to me.
Yeah. No, huge, broad powers across the board. Again, the legislature, Democrats and Republicans, abdicated their duty to find a way to make sure that they can create the laws to respond to the COVID crisis correctly. Instead, they handed it all over to Governor Cuomo, and now the Republican Party would have you think that, oh, no, we tried to stop this. No, you didn't. Look at how your members voted. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They were complicit. The Republicans were complicit in granting Cuomo the powers that he has now. And a few of them are kind of crying after the fact and meekly saying that Governor Cuomo should give up his powers, or we should meet and take away his powers. Well, that it's not the way it works. This is going to be a hard thing to undo, because now the Democrats were already in power, and unfortunately they're going to hold on to whatever they can, and Cuomo is the cudgel that they're going to use to do it.
Absolutely. No, and that's how it always works. And I do want to get to a comment. We got a comment from Nate online. It doesn't make sense to vote for anybody but Joe in New York. A Biden vote is excess. A Trump vote is a waste. Might as well help with ballot access. So thank you for that comment.
I could not have said it better myself. Look, voting for Joe Jorgensen is helps us keep ballot access. It sends a message to the duopoly that we are not going to stand by and take their approach to government any longer. And I think people increasingly have Joe Jorgensen got ballot access in 50 states, 50 plus states, D.C. and Guam and other U.S. territories as well. But the bottom line is, she's the only third party candidate outside of duopoly to get 50 state ballot access. What does that say? That says that people relate to her message, and they think it's important enough to have another voice in American politics that eschews big government that the Republicans and the Democrats have encouraged.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we're heading into a break in just a second, but we'll be back. One more segment with Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party in New York. Thank you so much for listening to Radio Free New York. Talk to you in a few.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we're better together, and together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice, save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free, ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. And again, we're joined today by Cody Andersen, the newly elected chair of the Libertarian Party in New York. And, we're talking about some of the reasons maybe to vote for Joe Jorgensen. And I want to get to, Cody, I want to see how you respond to this objection that I'll get occasionally. I'm out talking to people all the time, and they'll say, well, we got to vote for Trump. It's the only way to stop socialism. What do you say to that, Cody?
I would say that those people voted for someone who literally spent $3.5 trillion of taxpayer money overnight.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't define socialism, I don't know what does.
Let's also not forget that Comrade Trump also used the CDC to cancel rent. So
that is also correct. And look, if you're looking at a the CDC has about as much to do with rent as I have to do with something I have nothing to do with, which I can't think of right now. But
smooth, Cody. Good job, nailed it.
It is so far off base. And could you do it through HUD or the FHA? I don't know. You don't want to. You don't want them to. But it's so far afield, and maybe he's just trying to create this connection between COVID because rent. Look, it's maddening to me, and this has crazy executive orders like this have a and we've seen it with Cuomo too, right? And these crazy executive orders have a trickle-down effect. And what you don't, if people follow this, like, great, hey, we don't have to pay rent. Awesome. Well, let's think about it. Now we have landlords that aren't getting money for their commercial properties or their rental properties. Landlords still have mortgages to pay. They still have utilities to pay. They still have property maintenance to pay. And where does this leave us? This leaves us, it leaves private landlords in a situation where they are basically left supporting the economy. It's not the government. It's not the government that's helping here. It's literally the landlords who are forced to not collect rent. And where does that put us as a country? It kills an economic engine. And it puts us in a situation where government force, where it helps one group of people, quote unquote, helps one group of people, it destroys another. And that we should not, the government should not be in the business of picking winners and losers. That's the bottom line.
No, and not to mention it, exacerbating housing market challenges that exist everywhere too, as landlords might not be able to survive under those types of conditions. And it creates serious cascading effects that we don't know what's going to happen.
Look, it affects property values. I mean, look at COVID. COVID people start working from home. It's going to affect people, and people who are renting space. In places like New York City are. They're seriously reconsidering having any office at all. Well, that's going to depress the demand for office space in your urban centers, and it's going to cause a huge drop in value in commercial real estate, and it'll normalize eventually. But you kind of like to have a smoother trend downwards than this is effectively. Pulling the rug out from under both commercial and residential landlords, right? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, they're saying it's one of those things. Government is trying to help. Well, let's give them good intentions. They're trying to help, but they're so big and so ham-fisted about it, they don't realize all the other impacts that it has.
Absolutely. That's and maybe it's not realizing it. Maybe it's negligent indifference. I'm not sure what to call it. But government, because these are people who essentially are in office to eventually get reelected. They do things without to make it look like government has done something to help. And that's ultimately that's more important for some reason than measuring the actual effects of what that government action did. And I think if people took stock of those of that heuristic, I think that you would see that big blunt government actions like the COVID response have a deleterious effect on the economy. It's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we only have a few minutes left, and I want to give you an opportunity to do something. Let's say, Chairman Andersen, your regime is wildly successful, that over the next 6 to 10 years, you start getting libertarians in office. Let's say you get a majority in New York State legislature. What does New York State look like if we start electing a bunch of libertarians?
I think New York will open up to the idea that the free market works, right? And the biggest concern here is that markets here in New York are not free. There's huge limitations for businesses to get started. Even occupational licensing, taxation, all these sorts of things are causing huge problems for people to stay in New York. We get more libertarians elected at the local level, at the state level. What will happen is that there will be a more common sense approach to the role of government, and we'll be able to take the shackles off the businesses, and really create some economic worth here in New York. We have residents leaving with their big fat state pensions. We have businesses leaving because they cannot be competitive in a state like New York and still make profit. And which, by the way, they're entitled to make. There is no expectation that a business should be unprofitable for the sake of saving the world. The bottom line is, if you have a good idea, you should be able to make money off it as much as you want. And in the end, these innovative businesses are being pushed out of New York because of policies that are not friendly to businesses, or for that matter, to individuals. And I think
so. I get what's happening now. What's going to happen when you win?
Well, when we win, we'll become a force in the legislature that will advocate for for policies that are more business friendly. That's the bottom line. And until that happens, we're going to be in the same morass that we are right now. More libertarians at the state level will drive the desire to shrink the government of New York, which is absolutely huge. The state's still hiring. Governor Cuomo is certainly hiring. He says there's a freeze, but he's still hiring in his office. And arguably those are some of the best paid people in New York, the people working in the executive branch. So from my standpoint, more libertarians means more opportunity, less economic stagnation, and once people are in a free business environment, they will innovate more, and we will succeed together as a state.
All right, so greater opportunities for entrepreneurs to be able to start those businesses. On the other end of that, too, greater access to services, more economic freedom. I think you had mentioned taxes in there, so that's part of that vision, too. And probably not, giving all of our legislative power to the governor. So that's out.
Look, you got to get rid of that. I mean, they should do that now, without libertarians in the state legislature. But absolutely, I think that's imperative. I think they absolutely need to take this power away from him, and the state will immediately start to do better without all these edicts coming down the line from a tyrannical state government.
All right on. So good. We only got a minute left. Where can people learn more about the Libertarian Party of New York and about you?
Well, Libertarian Party of New York website is lpny.org. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Same handle on all four services, LPNY Official. So please follow us on social media. Subscribe to our newsletters. We're getting a lot done now, and our outreach has only improved in the last 6 months, and we're continuing to enroll new libertarians at a rate that is that anyone would be jealous of. So we're happy to have that.
Fantastic. Well, Cody, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, so thanks for listening, everyone, today. We'll be back with more Radio for New York tomorrow. Talk to you then.